Wow, what an episode. We've got quite a lot to talk about this week. How's everybody? So we're now past the midway point to season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney+. I want to thank you guys so much for checking back each week to talk about the show with me. I really do enjoy talking about it with you guys. If you enjoy it as well, or you're new to the channel, make sure you like and also subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the discussions about The Mandalorian and all my other movies and streaming reviews on the channel as well. We had a really fun episode last week where Mando stopped off, had a little detour so we can get the Razor Crest repaired, just to make sure that he's able to get the child and him to see Ahsoka Tano. We had that fun adventure with Grief Karga and Cara Dune, and we had that stinger at the very end of the episode where Moff Gideon pops up and we see that they actually put a tracker on the Razor Crest so they can track Mando and the child, because Moff Gideon wants the child so he can perform more experiments with his blood and all that other stuff. And we get that wide pan out shot and we see a whole bunch of Dark Troopers, which is really awesome. If you want to hear my full thoughts on the episode, by the way, I do have a whole episode review, so check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. I don't know about you guys, but I thought this episode was absolutely fantastic. It gives us all the stuff that we love about Star Wars, so God bless Dave Filoni for giving us another awesome episode of this show. He brought out Ahsoka Tano in live action. We pretty much get it right off the bat because we start off with an epic action scene. Rosario Dawson shows up as Ahsoka, takes out all these different enemies. I actually really liked Rosario Dawson's interpretation of Ahsoka Tano in live action. I think she still carries that character really well. It's a fun character. I think that it's going to be interesting seeing her carry this forward in live action, especially as some of the things that are revealed in this episode makes it clear that we're probably going to get more Ahsoka Tano in the future, and I think it's going to be really fun stuff just because of what's revealed, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But Ahsoka does give that magistrate an ultimatum and she'll be back the next day, which just so happens to be the day that Mando and the child arrive on the planet. And they go to that village and the magistrate actually sees the Mandalorian and is like, I'm going to offer you this Beskar staff in exchange for you killing Ahsoka Tano for me. Which I kind of figured there was going to be some sort of way to get them connected where they could actually find each other, but I didn't think it was going to be around Mando having to also try and murder Ahsoka Tano. Fortunately, besides that brief introductory scuffle, we do get them all sitting down, the child, Ahsoka, and Mando. We get a bit of actually the child's backstory. We find out that he was actually taken from Coruscant. He's been trained by several different people, and the child's name is Grogu. We find out that the child, Baby Yoda, whatever name you wanted to call him all this time, his name's actually Grogu. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, that's a very Star Wars fitting name, but I guess from now on, we have to call him Grogu. I like that Ahsoka actually sat down to test out Grogu's different Force abilities. They are kind of hit and miss. I mean, we've seen that in different episodes where he kind of just randomly uses the Force at certain periods of time, but not always in the right situations. And just like that here, he's having trouble trying to do that with Ahsoka, but Mando gives him some encouragement, and he actually does take the little ball from Mando, which is nice. It's a nice little bonding moment. We actually do see Ahsoka say that they have a really strong bond. I mean, to the sense that he even says that he's like a father to him, which I think is adorable just because I think we all do think of them as more of like a father-son duo at this point. The climax of this show is probably my favorite part of the episode, where they both team up to take down the magistrate in this little village. The samurai elements of this whole entire episode is probably one of the really cool things in my opinion. As a fan of samurai films, the samurai elements are heavy here. They break into the village, they take down all of these different types of enemies, mostly Ahsoka just mowing down people. I think Ahsoka is the real MVP of this episode, if I'm being honest. I really think that she's the strong element to this episode that I think a lot of people are going to love about it. But Mando does get some action in, but the highlight of the fights is pretty much Magistrate versus Ahsoka. They have this amazing samurai kind of duel, while Mando and Michael Biehn, I guess I should have mentioned him, but he's not really like super important, but Michael Biehn does have a cameo in this episode. He has a couple lines, so it's more than a cameo, I guess I should say. But he doesn't really amount to anything too interesting. He just has one or two different dialogue scenes, and he gets killed by Mando by actually fake surrendering, which, I mean, it was kind of a waste of a character. That's why I didn't really want to mention it too much, but I do like Michael Biehn. But yeah, that whole fight between the Magistrate and Ahsoka Tano with the samurai-like duel, the Magistrate's using a Beskar staff. It's easily my favorite moment of the episode. But we do find out after Ahsoka defeats the Magistrate, her master is Grand Admiral Thrawn. So when they're name dropping someone like Grand Admiral Thrawn, I think that we're going to see him at some point in the future, whether it be in this show or some sort of spin-off show. I mean, you can't just drop Grand Admiral Thrawn like that and not bring him up at least in another form. I do like Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think he's a really cool character. It does make me wonder whatever happened to Sabine and Ahsoka going to find Ezra, because I believe that also involved Grand Admiral Thrawn. But I guess we'll maybe see that explored in some other material. We do cap off the episode with the child almost going to Ahsoka, but Ahsoka doesn't want to break up the bond between Mando and the child. But she does say to go to the planet Tython, sit him on this altar and have him choose, reach out to somebody through the Force, see if a Jedi calls. But there's not too many Jedi left, obviously, since this is taking place after Return of the Jedi. So maybe they'll actually see some more Jedi. As I've said, maybe we'll see Ezra, or there's not too many out there at this point, but Luke. There's only a couple handful I can think of that are still out there and alive at this point in time. But I think that would be kind of cool to see some Jedi, whether it just be one of the ones that we do know, or we hear a voice, or see an image. I think we'll see somebody down the line when we get to that point in the season. So to wrap things up, I had an absolute blast with this episode. I think this is the most fun I've had with the episodes this season, although there have been some really good episodes along the way. Ahsoka Tano in live action was great. I actually am looking forward to seeing more of her in other stuff. I assume this isn't going to be a one and done thing. You wouldn't cast someone like Rosario Dawson to portray Ahsoka for just one episode and then never again. But really great episode. I'm excited to see where the rest of this season goes. I'm curious to see when we're going to actually see Moff Gideon show up and try and take the child again, because we are on that path. No mention of them really in this episode, so we still have that storyline lingering in the background. Let me know in the comment section down below, though. What did you think of this episode of The Mandalorian? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Were you a fan of Ahsoka Tano showing up in live action? I'd love to hear all your thoughts about that as well, and all your other thoughts about the episode as well. I'd love to get a discussion going in the comments section, because I like to talk all things movies and TV on the channel. Thank you as always for checking my reviews, though. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like it, the subscribe button. It will keep dating reviews, share actions, unboxings, and more. For the next time, I'll see you guys later.